This may look like a modified Be Quiet Pure Base 500DX, and you would be right for thinking that, but Be Quiet made some upgrades to this popular case and are releasing the Be Quiet Pure Base 500FX along with a few new products in time for their 20th anniversary. Hey there, Chris here for Kit Guru, and following on from Leo's video on Be Quiet's 20th anniversary, I'm here with a slightly different take on things. If you haven't seen Leo's build, then check out the video description for the link to his coverage. It's well worth watching. So yeah, Be Quiet are currently celebrating their 20th anniversary and at the same time launching a new range of FX branded products. Included in this new lineup are the Pure Base 500 FX, the Pure Rock 2 FX and Pure Loop FX. The common theme around the FX lineup is that Be Quiet are making some tweaks and are including their Lightwings fans, meaning for the first time off the shelf you can pick up a Be Quiet air cooler, AIO or case that all come with Lightwings fans installed as standard. The Pure Loop 2 FX is available in a 240, 280 or 360 configuration, includes an ARGB controller with either 2 or 3 Lightwings fans, depending on what size AIO you choose. The ARGB PWM hub enables synchronization of up to 6 fans and 6 ARGB components, and this allows you to run all your cooling and lighting gear with just one PWM and one ARGB header on your motherboard. Finally, the hub is also suitable for mounting to a 2.5 SSD bay. The Pure Rock 2 FX comes with a single Lightwings 120mm fan, it has a 150W TDP cooling efficiency and 4 6mm high performance heat pipes. Finally, we have the Pure Base 500 FX, which comes with 4 140mm Lightwings fans, ARGB strips to the inside top, plus an ARGB PWM hub to the rear of the case. It's a really nice addition to have, and this keeps all the lighting controlled from a single hub that can be connected to the motherboard or independently controlled via the I/O panel. Again, the hub is conveniently fitted to one of the 2.5 SSD mounts to the rear of the case. Pricing for August and September will be discounted at participating retailers with up to around £30 off all new FX range products, but only while stocks last, so if you are looking for a new Be Quiet base build, then now is the time to shop around and grab a bargain. Right then, moving on to the build I have here. As I say, it is Be Quiet's 20th anniversary and they asked me to put something together to celebrate. This obviously had to include their new line of FX products, and I went for the 500 FX and a 240mm Pure Loop 2. If you have seen my previous builds for Be Quiet before I joined Kit Guru, then you will know that I've already done 3 builds in the Pure Base. I did Pure Pastel in the original version, Pastel DX in the DX version, and then I just did a off-the-shelf standard 500 DX but added Lightwings fans for a clean build. So Be Quiet have essentially added the fans and the ARGB hub that I did separately and bundled it all into a single package. The problem I had coming into this one was having an idea for the build. The theme was obvious, Be Quiet's iconic black and orange colour scheme, but in terms of mods or custom work, I have previously done water-cooled in a custom loop and air-cooled, so using the Pure Loop FX AIO for this one meant I had to come up with something a little bit different. The idea then was to replace the back SSD tray with a custom mounted screen, add a splash of colour and go from there. The first job I had was to strip the case and send off some internal panels to the powder coaters. I wanted to go with orange for some of the internal panels and the front vents. While they were being painted, I then started working on designing and 3D printing a housing for the 11.9-inch waveshare screen I decided to include. I wanted to use this to display some of the system information via Ada64 in a custom theme. Now there are some great templates on the forums for Ada64, but this had to be fully custom, so that took me a little while to nail down the final design. My 3D printer couldn't accommodate the full housing, so this was split into 2 parts and then glued together, and then I added a front panel to that which was laser cut from my own drawings in orange acrylic. Once the case came back in, it was time to put it all back together and start installing our components. I haven't gone over the top for this one, keeping it nice and respectable. The panels were a perfect match to the Be Quiet orange and turned out really well with a really nice finish to them. So moving on to hardware for this build, we've teamed up with MSI. They kindly sent over a Z690 Edge Wi-Fi. The board supports Intel 12th gen processors, DDR5, has 4 M.2 slots, Wi-Fi 6, 2.5 gigabit LAN and premium thermal solution. It's a great looking board and I was tempted to remove some of the heat sinks and send them off to the powder coaters too, but I like the design, and with all the other orange parts I didn't want to go too over the top. The CPU I'm using was kindly sent over by Intel and is their i7-12700. It's 12 cores total with 8 8 P cores and 4 efficiency cores and a max turbo frequency of 4.9 GHz. Again, a huge shout to Intel for supporting this build and Be Quiet's 20th anniversary. It's not a K version of the 12700, but this system is possibly going to be used more for storage and backup, so there wasn't a great need for anything too powerful, and the 12700 does more than an ample job for our needs. On memory, I have 16 gigs of XPG Lancer DDR5 at 6000 MHz in a 2x8 configuration, and finally for our motherboard we are cramming all 4 M.2 slots full of storage thanks to Seagate, using 4 of their FireCuda 510 NVMe drives. These are Gen 3, so not as fast as their 530s, but we have a total of 8 TB here for plenty of fast usable storage. The 510s offer 3450 MB per second read and 3200 MB per second write. Personally, I love the FireCudas. Not only do they perform really well, but being NVMe and taking advantage of all 4 slots on the MSI Edge Wi-Fi means we can have no additional power or data cables getting in the way. Another plus on the Edge board, as Leo picked up on, is that there are no fiddly screws to deal with to get these NVMe drives installed. I have no idea the amount of times I've dropped one of those little tiny screws and had to deal with it, so getting rid of that and going for these real fast clips is a real bonus. With our motherboard stocked up, I could then finally get this installed into the 500FX and concentrate on getting our display installed as well. This display will use the onboard graphics from the Intel 12700 and fits perfectly into the space. Moving on to graphics, ZOTAC generously sent over an RTX 3070 AMP Holo Edition. This card offers 2nd gen ray tracing, 3rd gen tensor cores, the hollow black design and Ice Storm 2 active cooling. The metal backplate really does help stiffen up the card, and it includes great lighting integration. To tie into this theme, I was going to powder coat the backplate and spray paint the original green and purple part of the shroud orange, but again chose to go black instead, conscious of overdoing the orange in this build. I do have an alpha-cool vertical GPU bracket that I was tempted to use as well, but then that would have covered up too much of our internal display, so I've stayed with the horizontal mounting. Our CPU cooler is of course the Pure Loop 2 FX, the 240mm version with 2 included light wings fans installed to the top of the case. I was tempted to use the 360 version at the front, but again some of that would block the display. It's an easy to install AIO and performs really well. It's nice and quiet too, and it has that lovely backlit Be Quiet logo on the CPU. Now with our main components installed, it was time to move on to power, and for this I've gone for the amazing Be Quiet Dark Power Pro 1200 watt. Yeah, it is a little bit overkill, but it's such a great premium quality power supply that I just thought, why not? I had it here, so I decided to make use of it. To complement the power supply, Michael Shepard at To The Wire Mod had sent over some custom extensions to finish off the build with a little touch of orange there. With the system now up and running, it was time for a small final touch, adding a little vinyl to the front of the PSU shroud to break things up and bring everything together. If this had been any other Be Quiet build, I would have just gone for the plain Be Quiet logo to the centre, but again, to celebrate their 20th anniversary, we have added in the 20 years logo as well to match what we have on our display. Overall, this has been a fairly straightforward build. The hardest part was ensuring the 3D printed parts would fit into the space and that I would be able to connect everything up to the rear. Being a mod, I haven't carried out any benchmarking on this, but as you can see from our display, our temperatures are in check and we can keep an eye on them via the display, and I've also added in some info there for power usage and storage. For now we have plenty of room, but I'm sure that I will soon start to fill this up with media over the coming weeks and months. Am I happy with how this turned out? Yeah, I think it's something that we've not seen done before in a pure base, and it got me thinking about doing a similar sort of build in the Be Quiet 802, but that is something for another day. If there is anything I would change, it would be the orientation of the AIO, just so that the tubes ran to the left so we could see that screen a little bit more. But it's a small niggle, and to be fair, you can see the screen reasonably well, and you're not going to be spending all day and all your time looking at it anyway. For today then, from me and everybody else here at Kit Guru, a very happy anniversary to Be Quiet. Don't forget they are offering discounts while stocks last on their new FX range at participating retailers. And a huge thank you again to MSI, Intel, Seagate and ZOTAC for making this bright little build possible. As always, you can keep up to date with all the latest tech news at kitguru.net, and don't forget to subscribe to see all our latest video releases. Why not join us on Discord, where you can show us off your own Pure Base 500 base builds and chat with the team. That's it from me. I've been Kris for Kit Guru, and I'll see you again soon with another video.